bright light's gonna set my soul on fire. Viva Las Vegas! Thanks for tuning in to another special episode of Tyler Vance Rants. I am your host, Tyler Vance himself, and you're not. It's June 7th, 1985. On last week's TNT, it mostly consisted of clips of TNT's Come and Gone in celebration of the show's first anniversary. But Vince McMahon and Lord Awful Alfred Hayes did celebrate at the end of the episode with a cake. This week's TNT is celebrating in grand fashion as it comes to you live from the Hilton in Las Vegas, and immediately the rowdy and ruckus crowd give Jesse the Body Ventura a hard time as he makes his way to the set. It's a good thing that the Body does not give a crap what the moronic masses think of him, especially considering he's used to such idiotic responses whenever he makes his way into public. If you tuned into last week's regular TVR episode, I referred to Jesse Ventura as not only a wrestler's wrestler, but a rock star's rock star, and never has that statement been more true than now when the music video for The Body Rules is shown. I've linked it down below for your viewing pleasure. Billy Idol and David Lee Roth, eat your hearts out. Unfortunately, Las Vegas doesn't seem to be full of classy individuals, especially considering the drunk idiots in the crowd boo the music video and almost send Jesse the Body Ventura into an outright fury, especially considering Vince McMahon jumps on the bandwagon, stating that the Body's career as a rock star may not be burning so bright.
Wait a minute. Yeah, you hear them? People want to hear some more.
I think perhaps you wrestle considerably better than you sing. Maybe even your broadcast career. It doesn't seem to me as if you really have a great future. I may be wrong.
Good Lord, McMahon, you have the #1 color commentary in the entire World Wrestling Federation right next to you, if not the entire pro wrestling business at the moment. And instead of asking him about those accomplishments, you instead decide to take the route of the juvenile prude, which you are so known to do, and side with the drunk and disorderly in the crowd. Jesse the Body Ventura is the only broadcaster who calls everything down the middle and shows absolutely no bias. If you're not careful, maybe Ventura will take your job next, you clown.
You pay to see the Body, and I've talked enough. You pay to see my...
Earlier in the year, we were treated to footage of Guardian Angel, model, and pro wrestling wannabe in Lisa Sliwa as she attempts to make her way into the World Wrestling Federation. And once again, we are subjected to not only audio, but visual torture as she once again invades our TV screens. This time as Mean Gene Okerlund checks in on her training progress with Mario Mancini. Sliwa apparently has black belts in both jiu-jitsu and karate, but none of the martial arts have prepared her properly for competing in the WWF, especially since the moves that she's so used to performing on hapless citizens just minding their own business walking down the street would be considered illegal in the squared circle. Then, without any kind of provocation, Lisa Sliwa hip tosses Jean Mean before we get to see some of her awful modeling. Stop the pain! From there, both Gene Okerlund and Lisa Sliwa take a ride on a train, while Sliwa herself is in uniform performing her duties as a guardian angel, while mostly looking like a reject off the set of The Warriors. You might find yourself asking, since Sliwa dedicates so much time to being a vigilante guardian angel, how does she expect to be able to match the ridiculous expectations of a pro wrestler schedule?
Guardian Angels takes up a lot of time, but I'm dedicated to becoming the best professional woman wrestler ever.
Thankfully, that train wreck of a segment is over, and we get to actually hear from a real pro wrestler in the living cream puff, Bruno Sammartino, who reveals that he got his start in pro wrestling at the age of 8 in Europe, while similarly, his son David Sammartino got his start in the US at the age of 5. Coincidentally, both father and son share respective IQs with the ages they started competing. As you may remember, both Sammartinos are currently beefing with Luscious Johnny Valiant and his client Brutus Beefcake, and recently it all came to a head at Madison Square Garden during a tag team match. Immediately, Bruno Sammartino kicks Johnny Valiant in the head and employs 2 arm drag takedowns before a charging Beefcake has his head slammed into the turnbuckle. The living cream puff then goes out of his way to slam both manager and client's heads together as they're attempting to regroup at ringside. I want Bruno Sammartino fined, suspended, and his job as WWF Championship Wrestling's color commentator permanently switched over to Jesse the Body Ventura. But that is where the footage comes to an end. And it's a good thing too, because that way I don't have to reveal that the Sammartinos were the ones that eventually won the match.
Looks like the old man still moves a little.
You might say that.
The living cream puff is absolutely determined to take the spotlight from his own son, David Sammartino, so it's poetry in motion when his spotlight is in return taken by an emerging Luscious Johnny Valiant, provoking his nemesis into a confrontation.
This old man could take it 10 years ago, and this old man will mop up the floor with you today.
Wasn't a gentleman I would...
I was okay with a fine, a suspension, and having the living cream puff Bruno Sammartino's job permanently turned over to Jesse the Body Ventura until he unprovokedly attacked Luscious Johnny Valiant. Such disgusting behavior warrants the living cream puff to be sent to prison where he belongs. The final 2 guests of TNT are both Big John Studd and the patriarch of the Heenan family in Bobby the Brain Heenan himself, who immediately suffers the indignity of being referred to as a... The only reason that TNT is the #1 rated show across the entire world is because of the contributions of Bobby Heenan, so show some damn respect. Another TNT appearance by Heenan, and another mention that he was unceremoniously fired by Mr. Blunderful Paul Orndorff, courtesy of the unprofessional Vince McMahon. But finally, the truth about the whole ordeal is revealed.
Had he stayed on TNT here another 30 seconds, I was gonna drop him.
You can't fire me, I quit. You're a loser, Paul Orndorff. Like fellow Heenan family member and world's strongest man, Ken Patera, Studd has taken Mr. Blunderful's actions personally and is very much looking forward to claiming the $25,000 bounty on Orndorff's head.
I took this ham and egger from nothing and made him into Mr. Wonderful. Now he's an ingrate, he's Mr. Pitiful.
With that, the interviews come to an end. Sort of. You see, Bobby the Brain Heenan turns the tables on the drunkards in the crowd, having both Jesse the Body Ventura and Luscious Johnny Valiant head out among the moronic masses in an effort to find the most sober of the bunch and ask them some questions. And if they get a little bit too out of control, Big John Studd is on hand to gong them into silence.
I love New York.
Is it as filthy as they say it is?
It's a nice place to live, a nice place to raise children.
Edna.
Edna. How do you spell that?
E-D-N-A.
That's right.
He's not really bald, he's just got a wide part. Go ahead.
Yeah, sit down, Slam. What's your name, please? Dick. Yeah, is that right? Back to you. Now, wait a minute. In order to get stationed in Washington, you must polish some people's, And your name, please?
Mary.
Would you have fish for dinner or what?
With that, another TNT comes to an end, and I personally can't believe that I've been covering this show for over a year now, as it seems like just yesterday both Vince McMahon and Lord Awful Alfred Hayes welcomed us to the set for the very first time. The good news for you is that you can go back and check out every single episode I've already covered, as well as be notified when new ones are released by hitting the bell, liking the video, and subscribing. And you can also follow me on social media where it is 1985 in pro wrestling all over again. That's all for now. So long. Then, without provocation, Lisa Sliwa hip tosses Gene Mean without any kind of provocation. I think I already said that. Yeah, but after this disgusting display of outrageous, oops.